p.m. I will call the City of Allegan City Council meeting to order. And Michaela, would you like to take roll call?
Sure. Councilmember Canales.
Here.
Councilmember Hooker.
Present.
Councilmember Walker.
Here.
Councilmember Westover.
Here.
Councilmember Zeter.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
Here.
Farrago.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move down to agenda item number 3, which is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would like to please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moving down to agenda item number 4. 4A is approval of the regular council meeting agenda for March 24th, 2025. And can I get a motion? Thank you.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Moving down to agenda item number 5. 5A, we have approval of the regular council meeting minutes from March 10th, 2025. May I get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the regular council meeting minutes from March 10th.
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Were there any changes that anyone saw? No? All right, we're going to be approving this as is. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? All right, motion passes. 5B, approval of the closed session meeting minutes from March 10th, 2025. And Michaela, are you passing those out? All right, I'll give everybody a minute or two to read these. All right, looks like, all right, thank you. All right, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. And if we will pass these all back that way. All right, I'm going to move down to agenda item number 8. 8A is a second reading and public hearing of Ordinance 528, amending Chapter 7, Building Regulations, Article 2, Rental Registration. And Joel?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this is the second reading and public hearing tonight for Ordinance 528, which includes several amendments to our zoning ordinance. There is a public hearing tonight, so I do recommend that you move forward with the public hearing. Over the weekend, I believe City Council, you received 2 emails from property owners in the City of Allegan with concerns on the ordinance as it's presented. I've had a couple council members reach out to me directly about those concerns. I've also had a sit-down meeting with one property owner about those concerns all last Friday with Mayor Parrago. They requested that Mayor Parrago and I meet with them as well. I do want to make some clarification on some statements that were made at the last meeting from some council members. There's this idea out there that's been floated a handful of times that unpaid fees can just be put on taxes. We can put fees on taxes if it's abatements that we've done, if it's work we've done. If you choose not to pay your fee, your registration fee for your rental, we can't put that on taxes. We reached out to our city attorney, and Michaela reached out to the city of Kalamazoo, and we found out that that is not a thing. You can continue to issue fines, and then eventually you can hire an attorney and go to court and try to get a bench warrant for unpaid municipal civil infractions. But they're not, felonies, so it's a little bit of an uphill battle is what was explained to us. And with that, my recommendation this evening is that council hold a public hearing, and based off conversations I've had with a handful of council members or a couple council members around this table, that this council, since you're relatively new, have a discussion about what you want to accomplish with the rental inspection ordinance. But I do encourage you to hold the public hearing this evening since it was noticed. Thank you.
Okay, it is 6:06. I will open the floor to any comments from the public at this time. Please approach the podium and state your name and address.
Okay, my name is CJ Paluchek. I'm at 1664 Ryan Woods Court, Allegan, Michigan. Good evening. I saw in the paper that the council recently approved a plan for Allen Edwin to build 42 homes. The owners in my subdivision include senior citizens on fixed incomes, disabled owners, minority owners, and families with small children. Allen Edwin built homes on 26 out of 32 units in my subdivision after having acquired the property in 2019 from Macatawa Bank, when the prior developer wasn't able to complete the project. From 2019 until 2020, Allen Edwin, along with their management company Swan, misrepresented and deceived all the purchasers of the new homes in Ryan Woods. This deception began with presenting proposed budgets for 2020 and 2021 on an already established association. These should have been actual figures instead of estimates, as it was an established community. There were many inaccurate figures. However, the road repair cost, showing $2,000 as an annual budgeted item for 2021, was a blatant lie that seems to me that it was criminal in the way that it was advertised and disclosed. We received quotes in that same year ranging from $110,000 to $240,000 for road repairs. The most recent quote for repairs from September of last year was $288,045. Our roads are a disaster after Allen Edwin and their heavy equipment ground them to a pulp and then they left. Allen Edwin was an owner and not a developer or successor developer, and colluded with Swan to avoid enforcing the bylaws, even though Swan had a contract with Ryan Woods Condominium Association, not Allen Edwin, and thus Swan had a fiduciary responsibility to the Ryan Woods Condominium Association. Examples of how Allen Edwin and Swan worked together without enforcing the bylaws at the expense of Ryan Woods are as follows. 1, non-payment of dues. No effort to collect current and past due assessments from Allen Edwin. Number 2, they ignored tree preservation without submissions to the Architectural Control Committee for property alterations.
Point of order. This hearing is supposed to be on the rental registration, not on new development.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Zeter. Yeah, the public comment is the next item on the agenda. This is about 8A.
Okay, does that mean my 3 minutes start over, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, do I have any other comments for the public hearing on ordinance 528?
Hello, my name is Ben Otis. I own a number of properties throughout downtown Allegan. I did email all of you, so I know you're aware of my notes. I just wanted to take the opportunity to express that as you are considering this amendment for ordinance 528, or maybe that's the number for the new ordinance, I think that there's probably some better opportunity out there that can better serve the people of Allegan, specifically addressing some of the blight issues that I know that you're working hard to address, and probably something that maybe once there's an opportunity to sit down and talk with some of the stakeholders and gather more information, I think there's probably something that can do a better job of making sure that there's some teeth in here to rein in anyone who may be a problem owner and maybe allow something that is just better crafted for this, whether it be addressing some of the single family homes in the area that maybe have some blight issues, maybe perhaps an ordinance official, somebody who is actually working on behalf of the city as opposed to just a subcontractor who has the direct community concerns in mind. I know that myself and others have expressed some of our concerns maybe a little bit more clearly than I'm doing at the moment when it's in the written word. And I just appreciate you guys taking the time to consider what is actually best for the citizens of the community of the City of Allegan. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Is there any other comments on the adoption of Ordinance 528? All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing at 6:11.
Madam Mayor, based on some of the concerns, I'd like to motion that we table this item for further discussion.
All right, we have a motion on the table.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and supported. With the motion on the table is to table Ordinance 528, which is amending Chapter 7, until council has further time to read the amendments. All right, all those in favor of tabling, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no? All right, motion passes to table. All right, moving down to agenda item number 9. Here's public comment. If you have a public comment, please approach a podium, state your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. CJ Paluchek, 1664 Ryan Woods Court. I am a resident of the Ryan Woods subdivision in Allegan. Our owners include senior citizens on fixed incomes, disabled owners, minority owners, and families with small children. Alan Edwin built homes on 26 out of 32 units in my subdivision after having acquired the property in 2019 from Macatawa Bank. The prior developer wasn't able to complete the project. From 2019 until 2020, Alan Edwin, along with their management company Swan, misrepresented and deceived all the purchasers of the new homes in Ryan Woods. The deception began with producing proposed budgets for 2020 and 2021 in an already established association. These should have been actual figures used instead of estimates, as it was an established community. There were many inaccurate figures on these budgets. However, the road repair cost showing $2,000 budgeted annually for 2021 was a blatant lie. It seems to me it was criminal in the way it was advertised and disclosed. We received quotes that same year ranging from $110,000 to $240,000 for road repairs. The most recent quote for repairs from last September was $288,046. Our roads were left a disaster after Alan Edwin and their heavy equipment ground them to a pulp and then finished the project. In their words. Alan Edwin was an owner and not a developer or successor developer, and colluded with Swan to avoid enforcing the bylaws, even though Swan had a contract with Ryan Woods Condo Association, not Alan Edwin, and Swan had a fiduciary responsibility. Examples are as follows: non-payment of dues with no effort to collect current and past due assessments from Alan Edwin, ignoring tree preservation without submissions to the Architectural Control Committee for property alterations. Please make a trip to our subdivision. You will see the 4 original homes that had tree preservation, and all the rest of them were clear cut with no woods left around the surrounding homes. Destruction of the roads. Roads are a common element. Those roads should have been repaired at the expense of the owner who caused the damage. Instead, Alan Edwin damaged, and Swan ignored the damages and then canceled the contract when they were done construction. Additionally, Swan violated the Michigan Condominium Act, which requires that 10% of dues are to be put in a separate reserve account. At the time that Swan terminated the contract, we had not 1 penny in a reserve account. I have 2 questions for the council. Given that Alan Edwin is one of the largest builders in Michigan, can anything be negotiated with Alan Edwin to address the roads in Ryan Woods as a condition for their new project? And 2, how will you ensure that the new residents will not have the same experience we at Ryan Woods had and are still attempting to overcome come. I have thousands of pages of documentation, if any of you are interested in reviewing in detail, to see the depths that Allen, Edwin, and Swan went to bury their collusion until it was too late for the new owners to do anything about their new financial burn-ins. Thank you for your time, and I'm going to leave a couple pictures if you.
All right, is there any other public comment tonight? All right, seeing none?
Mayor,
Yes,
can I call a point of order?
Yes.
I think there's some clarification. And I'm sorry to say this, but Ryan Woods is not within the City of Allegan's jurisdictional limits. That is probably Valley Township or. Yeah, so Valley,
Allegan that you guys have approved a project for. So I want you to be
Yeah.
aware of what happens
Yeah.
when Allen Edwin builds homes in Allegan.
yeah, the difference between Valley Township and the City of Allegan is these will be public roads that they have to construct to public standards. There would be no homeowners association responsible for maintaining the roads like they do out in the township. In the city, we ensure that there's full control, full development to our standards. There's a lot of stopgap safety checks. I'm saying it's more for council's own information as well. You hire professional staff for a reason.
Why was Allegan building inspectors out there wondering why the roads weren't being done? Allegan building inspectors were at our property.
We all contract with the same firm called PCI. That's why. It wasn't a city project, unfortunately.
all right. Moving down to agenda item number 11. I'm going to go back. Before we get to the next public comment, is the clock working correctly or not?
It was not on that particular slide, and I can't guarantee that it's going to on the last one.
Okay, all right. I just was like, it's like stuck. All right, thank you. All right. Moving back to agenda item number 11. 11A is city boards, commissions, and area agencies. 11A1 is the review of the March Planning Commission meeting minutes. And Councilmember Westover, would you mind?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The Planning Commission meeting, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. New business was a public hearing and special use permit for a temporary marijuana event located at the Allegan Fairgrounds. That passed through the Planning Commission. I think we should be seeing that sometime soon. That's, the dates on that are 8/27 and 8/25. And just a special note, it is a business-to-business event, invite only. There was one letter that was included in our packet from a property owner who had some concerns against the issue. And then Sari Miller represented the Allegan County Fairgrounds, and I believe she's in attendance today. Next was discussion on the city's zoning ordinance. The members of the Planning Commission received a draft copy for review, so that'll be going into review. I believe that's coming back in April, late April. And that was the gist of it.
All right, thank you. 11A2 is the March Downtown Development Authority meeting minutes, and Assistant City Manager Johnson, give us an update.
Yes, gladly. The DDA met and approved this year's Match on Main applications. There were 2 of them that were submitted to the MEDC for their approval. We gave an update on the wayfinding signage program, like we've talked about at this level, and they just got to see some of the same construction drawings that we've previewed here, noting that a lot of them are going to start in the core of the downtown with our parking lot signage and then expand out citywide from there. We also discussed a really preliminary concept for parking, at expanded parking options at the Griswold Auditorium, and then gave an update on our monthly downtown lowdown meetings that just kind of have a overlap with what is discussed at the DDA, so that's going to be a standing agenda item for that board.
All right, thank you. 11A3 is the March Public Spaces Commission meeting minutes, and it looks like Councilmember Canales, would you give us an update?
Yeah, so we met and talked about several things. One was the removal of grass from the baseball fields. After discussing that, although they found it to be a good idea. They thought it would be way too expensive. So they are not really all that interested in going ahead with that project. They're moving forward on getting some butterfly gardens put in. They're going to be getting some information as to what kind and so forth, and hopefully we'll get that going here soon. The Academy Street Sidewalk Project, talked about removal of trees, and that most of the trees that are going to be removed are dead or mostly dead, so that's good. And we talked about green burial, and a lot of different interesting stuff about green burial. There's green burial certified, which is a thing that I didn't even know that was a thing. And I don't think we're gonna be going for that the interest wasn't for that. That was kind of extreme for what everybody on that board was thinking. But they're planning on getting a lot more detail for that for our next meeting, so I'll have more information for you then.
Okay, thank you. All right, 11A4 is the February Allegan Fire District meeting minutes and Councilmember Walker.
They reported that in January of this year, we had 33 incidents, and compared to 137 last January of '24. 33 to 137. Don't know what the difference was, but.
Wow.
Well, they did say 137. A lot of that was the huge snowstorm we had last year, January. 442 labor hours this January. And it broke out Allegan City, 106. Allegan Township had the most, 232. A little bit of Cheshire, and then miscellaneous. The fire district members were trained for 65 hours in January, covering OSHA requirements of hazmat, confined space, bloodborne pathogens, and high voltage awareness. And then we had a discussion on the new law with, was it payroll and sick time?
Oh,
Yeah. And that is updated just today. There's an email from John Cook saying that they are exempt. Fire departments are exempt for certain reasons, so that's all good. And that is all.
all right. Okay, thank you. 11A5 is the March Wellhead Committee meeting minutes, and
Sure, the minutes are in your packet. If you have any questions, feel free to email Doug Sparrows.
thank you. All right, we're going to move down to agenda item 11B. 11B1 is a request to approve accounts payable and payroll, and Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
We have accounts payable of $229,239.45, a payroll of $126,528.98, which gives us a total of $355,768.43. Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we pay our bill.
All right.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Moving down to agenda item number 11B2 is a review of special assessment roll for unpaid fees.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening, we're asking you to adopt Resolution 2510. 2510 will schedule a public hearing for the 2025 special assessment roll for April 14th, 2024. As you will recall, this is the third time we brought this to you. It's a part of the process, so you've seen this list much longer than this has whittled down since we've notified people. These are the remaining properties that have yet to pay their fees for 2025. We will be holding a public hearing and notifying them again, and then after the public hearing, you will be directing staff to assess the properties onto their taxes, or the unpaid fees onto the taxes. So tonight, you're just adopting Resolution 2510 to schedule the public hearing.
Okay. Can,
I make a motion to start the public hearing, or schedule the public hearing.
I'll support.
all right, it's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion on this? No. I have a question. how can we adopt something that earlier in the meeting we learned that fees cannot be added to a tax bill?
So these are abatement fees and stuff that are in the ordinance. Yeah.
Okay, all right, I just want to make sure that
Yep.
that was
So you'll see
clear.
up there, the roof damage cleanup, that's when we had the windstorm come in and
Okay.
take a roof off a downtown building and land it right on the riverfront park, and we had to send our DPW staff down there to get it all off the park. Downtown garbage, blight mowing, downtown garbage, blight mowing. These are all physical services that the city provides.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, it's been moved and supported to hold a public hearing to adopt 2510. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, no. Motion passes. Right, 11B3, review of February revenue and expenditure reports. Who is, Tracy, are you?
Yeah.
Those are the revenues and expenditures for
Thank you.
February, and if you guys have any specific questions, I can answer them for you.
All right, does anyone have anything tonight? Or you can always email Tracy.
I'll email.
Okay. I'm looking at Will. All right. Okay, don't see anyone else with any questions. So moving down to 11B4 is a request to approve amendments to the personnel policies and procedure manual.
Yeah, very quickly, as council is hopefully well aware, the state of Michigan passed the new Earned Sick Time Act that requires employers such as the city to provide employees with paid sick time that accrues at a rate of 1 hour for every 30 hours worked. While our PTO program far exceeds that requirement, we still need to establish this policy. We do have a handful of employees, such as the crossing guards that are above age 18, that also qualify for this. So this policy, working with our labor attorney, was deemed necessary to be included. This is not an additional 72 hours to our existing PTO program. This would be counted as part of that PTO program. Any questions for staff?
All right, can I get a motion to
I-
approve?
I will make a motion that we approve the amendments to the Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual.
Thank you. Oh, It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Okay, moving down to agenda item 11E. 11E1 is a request to participate in the state of Michigan at MIDEAL program for the purchase of road salt in the amount of $27,200.
Well, I hope you guys are enjoying the first couple days of spring. We are already thinking about winter 2025, 2026. So this is an annual action that City Council takes every spring to participate in the State of Michigan MIDEAL program, and you got that correct, Mayor,
All right,
for the purchase of road salt. We're estimating we're going to be spending $27,200. Once the bids come in through the state, we will come back with a purchase order for you to approve. However, we need to let the state know that we are going to participate before they go out to bid, so they know how many communities are part of the pie. Any questions for me or staff?
And this is based on like usage, because it looks like it was 300, and then it went down. So is this a guesstimate as to usage?
It is a guesstimate to what the usage is. That is correct.
all right. Okay, can I get a motion? Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any other questions, comments? All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. 11E2 is a request to approve a PO 250806 with Chloride Solutions for the purchase of 2,500 gallons of beet juice for the city's road salt program in the amount of $8,250 is what I have. Okay. Not what's on the screen.
We corrected on the screen. It's, yeah, the bottom part we corrected, not the
Yes.
top part. So yeah, the agenda title had the wrong number, that 8,125, and I apologize for that mistake. Little bit of science for you. We don't just throw road salt on the roads. We mix beet juice into the road salt to make the application work better. So in addition to purchasing road salt, we need to purchase 2,500 gallons of beet juice, and we do that through Chloride Solutions. So we are recommending that you approve this purchase order, the amount of $8,250 for the purchase of the beet juice for the next winter season. Any questions for staff?
Yeah, there's no one local, or fairly local? They're, what, Weberville?
Yeah, I don't know that off the top of my head. There's someone that we've always used. We can look into that for the upcoming 26, 27 year, but this is something we've always gone with.
Is beet juice the only thing that works?
Yeah, I know about that much of chemistry, what I just said. I don't know any more chemistry, sorry. So the answer is I do not know, Councilmember Walker. This is the way it's been done. And we can go ahead and have Doug Cosman, I'll ask Doug, our DPW director, those questions, and I'll have an answer for you. But we'd like to move forward with this purchase now. It's worked in years past for us.
All right, can I get a motion to approve a purchase order?
Yeah.
Second.
It's been moved and supported.
Those guys are quick.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. 11E3 is a request to approve a PO 25-0805 with Michigan Pavement Marking to stripe certain streets and intersections in the amount of $16,000 with a contingency of $200 for a total budget of $16,200. And Joel, are you giving us an update on what these certain streets are?
So I will give you a quick update over the report. If you have any questions, I can answer the questions you may have. This is a good example of interjurisdictional cooperation or intergovernment cooperation. We would like to partner or hop on the Allegan County Road Commission contract for lane striping that they have throughout the county. Michigan Pavement Marking is the company they work for. They're out of Wyoming, Michigan. Annually, we do all the streets in the downtown in the springtime to get those spruced up before summer hits. And then they come in and finish the rest of the streets, as you can see on the map that was in your report, and that's on the screen as well. Delano, River, Main, the Industrial Park, Eastern, going down south to Hooker/Bond, and then Bridge Road are the main roads we're gonna hit. A little bit of Babylon, it looks like, as well, and then the downtown streets as well. Any questions for staff?
Is this the same that we approved a few meetings ago?
So a few meetings ago, you approved crack sealing. So we partnered with the County Road Commission because they have a contract with someone to do crack sealing on streets throughout the city. So it is the same that we are partnering with the same agency, but it's a different work product.
All right, okay. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
All right.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. 11E4 is a request, a change to PO 25-0781 with FC&A to repair the posts on the riverfront boardwalk in the amount of $9,891.13.
Thank you, Mayor. Previous council approved a purchase order with FC&A to disassemble, sandblast, and powder coat the black riverfront railing that's along the boardwalk down on the river. If you've been out for a stroll, you've probably seen the work that's been going on. You know, in the fall, they paused over the winter months, and they started up just a couple weeks ago. As part of that process, we thought we'd be able to just disassemble the posts along what we're gonna call the cantilevered boardwalk. So that's essentially from the riverfront stage all the way west to Hanson Park. So we can't just disengage or disbolt that post the way it goes under and stuff. We have to go through now and physically cut that post off, create a sleeve, powder coat everything, sandblast the post still, powder coat it, and then reinsert that post into a sleeve. So what this project does right here is it is to do that work. It's called a splice kit, is what, as you can see in the report that was submitted to you last week. This needs to be done so we can make sure we do all the fence posts and all the fence panels. What we don't want is a project where 85% looks sharp and 15% looks old and rusted and chipped. I will remind, or, I'll inform this council, one of the reasons the previous council went this way is because how successful the city was in securing funding for the Mahan Park compared to what we had budgeted for that. We have significant general fund money left over for riverfront improvements, and council felt that this was a good improvement, investment of that money, so everything pops down there when Mahan Park improvements are done. FC&A is located in the industrial park. They're a local company we work with on a lot of projects.
Can I get a motion?
No, sorry.
Oh, yeah, let's do the motion first.
Yes, I'll make a motion for the improvement of the posts.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, so moved and supported. Councilperson Walker, would you like to share a comment?
Sure. So FC&A, they originally quoted 50,000, right?
50,000.
So, and it's not our problem.
So I would offer, that is one way to look at it. This was an unforeseen, I would offer, the other way is, this was an unforeseen improvement that they worked with the city staff on doing this quote as well. And maybe the Department of Public Works, myself maybe, should have been aware of how do we disengage that.
Was the city going to disassemble everything from the beginning, or was it FC&A to do that?
So we were going to utilize pontoon boats to help assist in that project when we were going to be more towards the boardwalk. And it was because the city has 6 or 7 pontoon boats / barges. That's what we use for where we shoot our fireworks. It's what we use to get down to the dam to clear out logs, et cetera. This is, an unforeseen. One way I could look at this was if you're having a roof done on your house and they take the shingles off your house, the next thing they notice, your decking is dry rotted. And they say, well, we can't reattach shingles to dry rot decking. It's gonna cost this to do that. They quoted us an X, the project's more than X.
So they could not have known that from the
Yeah,
start?
I would offer that this was something that would have not been known from the start unless there was a more thorough investigation done by staff. Historically, FC&A has been an amazing partner for the City of Allegan on other projects. They've worked with us. We do contract with them on those. They do receive payment for them, but they also give us discounted, costs on work they do as well.
Any other council members have questions, comments on this agenda item? All right, there is a motion on the table. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. All right, 11F1 is a request to authorize the city manager to enter a contract with TELNET Phone Services to implement a city texting service at a cost of $18 per month.
Thank you, Mayor. The previous council, and I keep saying previous council because 5 of you are new, 6 of you really are new for this, or 5 of you are new for this. The previous council really wanted to figure out ways to engage with the public more. As stated in our staff report that was given to you, we use a variety of, communication methods right now as it is. We do utility bill inserts. If you received your utility bill for this month, I get mine, electronically. The email popped up. There were 2 PDFs in it. One was your bill saying, Joel, you owe $81. The other one said, hey, Joel, spring cleanup is coming. So that's one way we do it. The other way we do it is social media posts. We do it through Facebook, Instagram, stories. That really is something Parker handles. I do not do social media. We do website updates. We put things out there on the website. And we do your traditional advertisements in the local newspaper, press releases. We routinely give interviews to the 3 news stations that cover the city of Allegan, et cetera. Last year, council really wanted us to look into texting. How can we just send out mass texts to everyone about what's going on in the city? So staff dove into this. Michaela did some work in this. I did some work in this. What we were really finding out, it would cost several $1,000s a year to set up a texting program through one of those platforms. In my staff report, I referenced TextMyGov. I think we had 3 or 4 sales calls with them. Wonderful, nice people, but they're always trying to sell, you know. Recently, we switched over our phone systems. The phone systems in the city of Allegan, you know, both for City Hall and our satellite offices at DPW, police, water, utilities, et cetera, is VoIP, Voice over Internet Protocol. We switched from MIDEAL to TELNET. That switch saved us $11,000 a year. All in all, it's been a really good switch for us. About a month and a half ago, I get a sales email from them saying, TELNET does SMS. I deleted it. Next day, I get the same exact, you know, email from them, and I clicked on that one. Not sure why I didn't realize SMS was texting, but, you know, I just had brain fog that day. We had Tim Carr, who is our rep for TELNET. Tim Carr is a West Michigan person. They're actively involved in the Allegan Area Arts Council, et cetera. I reached out to Tim and I said, hey, can you just come tell me what this flyer means? I don't want to talk to a salesperson. Tim came in, talked to staff here about what this service is. He told us, you know, it's going to be $18 a month to sign up. And I go, okay, well, I think you're way off on your number. Why don't you, you know, give us a real, you know, quote on what this would be, just so we can digest a little bit. And they came in, and it is an $18 a month, you know, system. He's like, Joel, you have all the hardware here already. There's nothing really set up for you guys. As you saw in the staff report, this is a system that is unlimited messages, unlimited contacts, shared inbox, group messaging, opt-in, opt-out, so it follows the FCC. So I'm on a couple texting groups for like the Cleveland Browns, and it's always at the bottom, click here to opt out or reply stop kind of a thing. This would follow the same kind of setup for us. The main staff work, as mentioned in the staff report, at least I hope I mentioned it in the staff report because it was in my brain. Yeah, the staff time that's going to be involved with this is going to be entering phone numbers of people who want to set up. There's not like an automatic go into a website and just type in a number thing. I got some people in city government who think that is a thing and they can create it. And I said, okay, well, if we can find a way to do it cheap and, you know, by cheap I mean efficient, we can do that. But right now it's, you know, people can just email us, hey, I would like to sign up, here's my cell phone number. I think this idea of texting to let people know of the fun stuff, like when city council has a meeting and how they can engage council at meetings would be good. Fun stuff as in, you know, we have events that, you know, are happening in the town, like food truck, you know, Fork in the Road Food Truck Rally, Rolling on the River, Bridge Fest, New Year's Eve, Festive Fridays, those kind of things. Sidewalk sales would be beneficial for us to be able to send that out, especially if we have an unlimited number of texts we can send out. More concerned or higher issues are if we have a boil water advisory, which we have seldom do we have to do this. But we could say, hey, there's a boil water advisory, click here, and it would go to, you know, our website page kind of thing, because we put tiny URLs in these text messages. So for $18 a month, I really don't think there's much skin off our teeth to put our toe in the water and, you know, see if we can make this work for the city. Previous councils are really engaged about wanting us to do texting. We always balked at that large number of, you know, thousands of dollars a year to get it up and running. Questions for staff based on what you saw in the report or on the flyer that was submitted?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Bill. I was just gonna ask, so it's an opt-in, but we have to email, like, is there any way to create like a QR code that would take them right to something, just to make it easier? Because I think more people would definitely sign up that way, yeah.
That was my question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so what I'm envisioning us doing with this is kind of creating like a landing page on our cityofallegan.org website. And then we would have the ability to create a QR code to put on I don't know, any sort of like mailers, water bills, and then folks could just scan it right there from their bill, go to that landing page on the website and sign up that way, and then we can create, posts for our social media pages that Joel referenced. We can have them available at, events and have like a little sign-up table and things like that, so we'll make it known and accessible that way.
And besides past council request for this, this would also cover the DDA's request. Have been talking about this as well, so, okay. All right. And look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Okay. It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. All right, 11F2 is a discussion regarding the potential sale of a city-owned parcel on Lowe Street.
Ms. Mayor, I'd like to request to be excused for this item as it's a potential conflict of interest.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Westover.
Me too.
All right, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Morgan. This does require a vote, correct?
Yes, you have to vote to recuse them.
All right,
So I will make a motion to recuse Councilmember Westover and Morgan, correct?
all right, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Okay, motion passes. All right.
Me?
Yes, you are on.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so at your last meeting, there was some discussion on the process to sell city-owned property. That discussion then morphed into specifics of a certain parcel on Lowe Street. A motion was made then to direct staff to come back to your next meeting on information regarding property value, potential job creation, projected tax revenue, and the cost of contamination remediation. So I answer those questions to the best of my ability with the knowledge and data I have at my fingertips without incurring additional costs to the city. So property value, the last time the city assessed this property was 2017. The value was assessed at $15,900. Typically, you double that for true cash value, so you're looking at $31,800. However, to a certain true market value, the council would have to contract with an appraiser and/or a realtor to see what they think the value of that property would be. Potential job creation.
Can you
Staff
hold
is,
up 1 moment?
yes.
Hold on. So if you, I don't know, can I ask questions as we go?
Sure,
To contract with an appraiser or a realtor, that would incur fees?
yes.
Okay. All right.
Not
sorry.
many do that stuff for free.
Correct, okay,
As they say, everyone has a mortgage or rent to pay.
correct.
Potential job creation. Staff is of the belief that it is difficult to assess job creation for this or any property without a concrete plan. It all depends on the end use for the parcel. As it relates to the request from Tantric Brewing Company to purchase this property on Lowe Street, it was shared in the meeting by Councilmember Westover that they have grown from 1 employee to 20 employees since its inception in 2018. So it was shared they've gone from 1 to 20. I know that they've been in business since 2018, so I added that part of the statement. Projected tax revenue. If the assessed value is $15,900, then the combined property taxes generated for all taxing jurisdictions, city, county, school, library, et cetera, would be $1,005 each year. You can utilize the property tax estimator through the Michigan Department of Treasury's website. That's all something anyone could go in and add in what the assessed value is, what their school district is, and it will pop up, this is how much you're gonna pay, in that area, plus the county and the local government. And then the final thing is cost of contamination cleanup. Without contracting with an environmental firm to conduct a phase 1 and/or phase 2, there is no way to formally know the full contamination of the site. As such, there is no way to know the true cost of remediating the site. After some internet sleuthing, I did find a recent article, this was on March 18th, 2025, that it is going to cost the village of Burton in Ohio $100,000 to remove an area of soil 20 feet wide and 8 feet deep and backfill it with clay to form an impervious barrier when a road project found soil contaminated with oil, diesel fuel, and possibly gasoline. Cleaning up contaminated soil is expensive. Reason I focus in on that article I found, it is suspected that this area is contaminated with benzene, which is a fuel type byproduct. And I've been told by ASA, the last entity that we sold this property to for $1, before they said, please take it back, they would have to put in what's called a vapor barrier. And while a vapor barrier, some people think that's just a piece of plastic that you put in your basement, your crawl space. It's really clay to ensure that vapor is not coming up through the soil. So that's why it would be more along those lines, in my opinion. However, you have to hire a firm to do that work. And then just going to end, you saw the report, hopefully you've read it. When you put value, what's the value of that property to you? And we all have values on property. I mean, I make donations to Goodwill. I don't ask Goodwill to give me money for the stuff I drop off, even though it's property I own. That stuff has no value to me. This parcel on Lowe Street has no value to the city of Allegan, in my opinion. Council, you may have a different opinion, but that's my opinion. So that was focused just on that request. Again, the original discussion last time was about process. Any questions for me on what was in my staff report? No. All right.
I don't have a question, but I did want to reaffirm, I also did some research on remediation, and while I didn't know, I saw like the lowest price, if it was mold, was 10 to 30,000. So I'm gonna say that this is probably quite accurate, so just.
All right. Any other comments from council? No? All right. Thank you. Oh, Mike?
If the school gave it back, there's gotta be a huge cost in fixing that
Yeah, one would think, yeah.
problem, so I would agree with Joel and say there's very low value to the city right now.
All right, well,
So nothing else for us to act on?
no, this was just staff, you know, following our motions and our direction for more information, so.
Gotcha.
All right, so now we need to accept
If there's no more discussion on this,
anymore. Everybody's
okay,
just,
then your next motion is to reseat Councilmember Westover and Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
I will make a motion that we reseat Councilmember Westover and, Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
thank you.
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes.
We're gonna take a small breather as Parker goes and lets them know,
Okay,
or Ben Otis is. A
sounds
member of
good.
the audience is.
All right, our full council is back. I will move down to agenda item 11F3, which is a request to approve a special use permit for a temporary marijuana event to be held at the Allegan County Fairgrounds.
Thank you, Mayor. Just some reminders for council on how special use permits work. Special use permits are reviewed by the Planning Commission. The public hearing is held at the Planning Commission. The review of a special use permit is that the use is sensitive in nature, and they want to give the surrounding property owners within 300 feet a chance to share any concerns they may have. And it gives the Planning Commission the opportunity to review the use in light of the zoning ordinance and add any conditions they feel they may need in addition to the zoning ordinance. But if it fits the zoning ordinance, there's a saying in zoning, if it fits, it ships, which means you can't willy-nilly say, I just don't like this. If it fits the zoning ordinance, then, it's something we approve. We are one of few communities I know where a special use permit is reviewed at the city council level. It's usually just reviewed at the planning commission level. So with that, this was reviewed by the planning commission at their March meeting. It was March 17th to be exact. The only person that spoke during the public hearing was Sari Miller, who is in the audience this evening, but she doesn't need to speak tonight unless council wants to talk to her. During the public hearing, there was a letter that was received by the Klungels. They own a vacant parcel on Arnold Street, which is up over the hill past Dawson. So they're within 300 feet of the Fairgrounds, but they're not down in the bowl is what I call it. The Planning Commission had that letter read into the record. I was the one that read it for them. So Sari Miller was the one that spoke. They also had this letter read into the letter. After reviewing the report with staff, reviewing this letter, holding the public hearing, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to approve the special use permit. And since the ordinance requires that the special use permit then come up to the city council for your review, it's here for your review. But you do not have a public hearing on it. You only have a, review of the Planning Commission's work.
All right, can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we approve.
I will support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion amongst council comments?
I just want to remind the public that this is not a public event. So everything that we keep seeing, I feel like people are under the impression that it's a public event. This is a vendor-to-vendor event. So I just wanted to remind everybody of that.
Thank you. Yep. Any other comments? No?
I just would like to say that we have commissions to help the council out. Planning Commission's already okayed it, so, I mean, that's, to me, golden.
All right, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. All right, 11F4 is a review and discussion on the status of the bridge.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Walker and Councilmember Hooker requested that this item be placed on the agenda for this evening to receive an update on the Trestle Trail Bridge. On the screens and in your packet, you received the staff report in your packet, as well as the 2 engineering studies that were done on the Trestle Trail Bridge, and then the engineer study from 2017 that Aaron Haskin was a recipient of. I will point out the one from 2017. That one refers to the Trestle Trail as the wood pedestrian bridge, and then makes the comment, I couldn't inspect the underside because of the river flooding, which in my opinion means it really wasn't inspected in 2017, because how do you inspect a bridge if you can't get under it? Motions made by council was in May 23 of 2022, City Council voted to close the Trestle Trail Bridge. The reason it was closed is at that time, City Council approved an ORV ordinance allowing off-road vehicles on our city streets. To allow the off-road vehicles from the north side of town to get to the south side of town because they cannot go on state trunk lines like M222, which goes east-west, we'd have had to convert the Trestle Trail Bridge to a multi-use pathway. And before council made that decision, they said, let's just have that thing inspected to make sure it can handle a side-by-side. And so they closed it for 3 weeks to allow that inspection to happen. That inspection happened, and then June 13th, they said, yep, we're gonna keep that thing closed permanently because the report said there could be no more than 500 pounds on that bridge, is what the engineer said. Then, between June of 2022 and December of 2023, there was a lot of pushback from residents saying, hey, that is on my walking circuit. I need to walk this. During that time, we also reached out and received estimates to replace the bridge. In your report, you'll see there is an estimate from Bridge Brothers out of South Carolina. They build those clear span metal bridges that you see everywhere. They're around $500,000 just for the structure, but that didn't include removal, site prep, foundations, all the stuff. That was just getting the bridge here. So that was CSRE. That was not a high cost, or an accurate cost. We estimate that was gonna cost another, $500,000 just to do all that work. We got a back of the napkin estimate from Milbacher and Sons, and they were anywhere from 800 to 1.2, if my mind recalls correctly. They then had another report done in December 2023. We were gonna reopen it, but then it was tabled to January 2024 because they wanted another report from the same civil engineer, and that came back, and at the very end, it was very clear, keep the bridge closed. These decisions were not made lightly. And I'm speaking on behalf of the councils at that time. They were not made lightly, in my opinion. Those decisions included a lot of thought and review of the engineered reports. The couple dozen or so pictures that you can see in there, in your staff report, there's 2 engineer reports. You can see where the pilings are not just dry rot, but splitting, and holes that you can fit a hand inside are forming. In those supports, the caps are splitting. However, as several people have told me, it held a car up last summer because we did have a person break through the barrier. And I go, yeah, you are correct. It did hold a car up. So I have 2 engineer reports, the city has 2 engineer reports saying keep it closed. We do have an estimate from a 3rd engineer that will do another structural report for $1,500. I'm not comfortable myself, even though that's within my purchasing limits, to spend $1,500 on a 3rd engineering report on that bridge, unless this council directs me to spend that $1,500 and get a 3rd report. And then if you have a 3rd report, then you have 2 conflicting engineering reports, where one is a structural engineer and puts his name to a report that says it's not safe, close it, and one puts his name to it and says it's fine, you may open it. I think that puts council in somewhat of a conundrum on which one you put more value on, which one you put the city's name on, and our liability on.
I don't know if Councilperson Hooker or Walker, if you had, I know you two had asked for this to be on the agenda, if you had any thoughts?
So the estimate for the bridge that was in there, was that in order to be able to have ORVs on it? Or would it be the same if it was pedestrian? So that's the question that
Yeah, so-
Councilmember
yeah.
Walker and I keep getting is, would there be a difference if it was strictly for pedestrian?
So that estimate that we received on that one, if you scroll down to that estimate, it was 12 feet by 10 feet, I believe is what it came down, or 12 feet by 75 feet. I don't know why I said 10. But it's 12 feet wide, 75 feet long.
So that would be for additional weight for
Yeah.
ORVs?
Well, I don't know if it'd be additional weight for ORVs. That's not a statement I'm willing to make right now. When you read the estimate, did it pop out to you on its weight capacity at all?
I should go through it again, but it wasn't clear whether it
Yeah.
was just for a walking bridge or.
Yeah. We can go ahead and get another estimate from a couple bridge people to see, so what is a weight maximum that you would be comfortable with? 2,000 pounds?
I think
Yeah.
they should determine that for a pedestrian bridge.
Yeah.
That would be standard, I would think.
Yeah, that's something we can say, hey, we just want a pedestrian bridge not designed for ORVs. It's the same with golf carts, since we are a town that allows golf carts on local streets, and golf carts can't go on M222, even though I see them with my eyeballs. Would you want this design to be able to hold golf carts?
I don't think so.
I mean, what we keep hearing is they just want a way to get across. And I will say, like, my concern is a couple times I've stopped young children from trying to cross, you know, is it Monroe right there? It has 3 different streets, but like from Village Market, you know, like on the opposite side.
Yep.
So, you know, there's some concern on the north side of, like, that was a nice way to get to, I mean, and it's really within the city limits, the only one with little, you know, a playground and everything else. So, you know, like, could we have a rope bridge? Could we have you know, whatever, something that people could get across the river, and then look for something in the future, like grant-wise or whatever, period, you know, in the future that maybe could include Orby.
Yeah. My mic wasn't on, I apologize. We, you know, if council wants us to engage more with, you know, construction companies, the removal of the existing bridge, you are looking at, you know, a few $100,000 in that removal alone. But we can reach out and say, hey, we only, you know, I can contact Bridge Brothers again or other bridge manufacturing companies to see what it's at. You're gonna want to, in my opinion, have a clear span bridge. I don't think if you do it for a rope thing, in 5 years, you're not gonna come back and do, that bridge won't be touched for another 50 years, in my opinion, which is okay. But you're not gonna wanna do something with pylons, because one thing we've had there, or pilings, the issues we've had there is the Kalamazoo River carries debris. And you have tree logs and branches that bang up against those pilings. They get stuck, they create miniature dams, the force of the river pushing against the tree logs, pushing against your pilings. That's a lot of pressure. And some structural, you know, integrity issues, in my opinion, could occur. But if you're looking for, if the whole of the council wants something different, and I'd like to hear from the whole of the council, you know, for direction, as I mentioned multiple times, that would be helpful here.
Joel, if my memory is correct on this, they never did issue anything about the pilings. We didn't find anything out about those. If they were safe or
Oh, no, yeah, they
needed
did.
repair or anything else.
Yeah, yeah, his report, he talks about the.
Under the water, I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah, his report talks about those caps, and, you know, pier 2S cap is in fair condition, no rot found. So he looked at each of those piers.
Underneath the water?
Probably not underneath the water,
That's
but
what
at
I'm
the, but at the
talking about.
top, that's something I can go and I can just ask. Yeah, because he's looking, the rest of the piles have up to 2 inches of outer surface loss at the water surface, is what I'm seeing for Pier 4S. So I think what they're saying here is they're seeing, and Bill, if you recall correctly, he came and spoke. You know, Ryan Warden from Scott and Civil Engineering, he was adamant that this is not a bridge that the city should keep open.
Correct.
And I believe we were recording meetings at that time, so you are more than capable to go back to those council meetings and watch those presentations.
Because what I'm hearing from the feedback that councilperson Hooker and Walker got was a pedestrian bridge, so I guess we need to find that out. Is it safe for pedestrians?
So the current bridge is not safe for
Safe for
pedestrians.
pedestrians
I mean,
either.
it's 500, and he said at the most, you could probably be comfortable, you know, allowing, you know, 3 to 4 people to walk across it at a time, not stop, not magnet fish,
Right.
not regular fish.
Right.
And I made the joke to Doug Cosman when he told me, I'm like, we're not gonna pay for a staff person to be a bridge toll watcher and be out there, you know,
That's what you need.
24/7.
Right.
I mean, we just can't afford that.
I just wanted to make
Yeah.
that clear, that.
Yeah, it
you
is.
know,
It's similar like when we do July 3 Jubilee and Bridge Fest, and we light fireworks. We don't do fireworks on Bridge Fest anymore, but when we do July 3 Jubilee, we put signs on the boardwalk bridge between Hanson Park and the riverfront. And it says, no stopping, no standing, keep moving the whole time. And we have to tell our deputies from Allegan County Sheriff's Department that we hire to man that event for us to Make sure people are walking, because people like to stand there and, you know, it's a nice view. But you can't have that many people, even before fireworks, you can't have people hang out on that thing. They have to be moving if you're gonna have that much weight on it. Dead weight is heavier than moving weight, is the way I would look at it.
Right. Is there any other?
Didn't we have a,
Yeah, and just real quick, I'm reading the Bridge Brothers quote. It says right here, 12-foot by 75-foot pedestrian bridge on page 332 of your packet. So if you go to page 332 of your packet, you will see that midway down, manufacturing quantity, 12-foot by 75-foot pedestrian bridge. So I don't even know if this bridge was designed to have ORVs with that language. But I don't mind engaging other contractors.
I think we should get some other numbers. I do, yeah.
I will tell you, Councilmember Zeter, as I shared with the council in my email, reached out, I don't know if you reached out to Jim Liggett or whatever. I know Jim he's the CEO, owner of RCI. He wants it so he can put golf carts and ORVs over it, so when he brings in people from around the world to, you know, potential clients, he wants to put them in a golf cart, take them through the factory, show them all the work they do, take them to Allegan events, show them everything, and then bring them across the bridge downtown to Shandor for lunch. He views this as that kind of a process. But so there are, you know, a significant amount of constituents that would like to use it for golf carts. And I know of 2 city residents that would like to use it for golf carts.
How wide do you think would it have to be to allow for pedestrians and ORVs?
I think 12 feet is wide enough.
what other kind of information do you want, Will? We have 2 already on there that it said it's not.
I don't think you mean whether it's good like it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it should come down.
Okay,
I have no
well, I'm just trying to figure out what other information you want to know about.
Other numbers of maybe another quote
For what?
for a pedestrian bridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We can get a quote for removal and replacement as purely a pedestrian bridge.
Hey, there's enough interest out there that I think we should have direction on it and put it out there for whether it's near future or farther out.
Future budgets and, yeah.
Right.
how to- yep. Okay. All right, any other comments from council on that? All right. Okay, we're gonna move down 11F5 is appointment of Tracy Stull as a city clerk effective Friday, March 28th, 2025.
Thank you, Mayor. Prior to my arrival here in 2017, the city manager, so my predecessor was city manager / city clerk. And then the city had a deputy city clerk, Lori Vanderclay, that provided a lot of the typical clerk duties such as elections coordinator and, you know, oversaw records for the city council. With the resignation of Michaela Kleehammer, and I have some comments to make when it gets to comments from city manager, we needed to look at how our department is operated, how the city is operated. That falls within my purview as the city manager, as the chief administrative officer. However, it falls within the purview of city council to approve the appointment of the city clerk. So it's my recommendation that we go back to way the world operated in 2017 or 2016 and have the title of city clerk assigned to a department head, and this department head would be the finance director. I shared with council during strategic planning sessions that I wanted to put the city clerk roles under the finance department at that time, since they all deal with facts and figures and numbers, and, you know, make it more tight that way. So I think this is a good step forward in realizing that vision I have for city administrative offices as well.
All right.
We will need a motion, and after the motion, Michaela will conduct the oath of office. I don't know if conduct's the right word either.
Okay.
She'll do the oath of office for Tracy.
Okay. Can I get a motion, please, to appoint Tracy Stull as city clerk?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we appoint Tracy Stull to clerk.
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, no. Motion passes. And Michaela, would you like to do the oath?
Yes, Tracy and I will approach the podium
Okay.
just so it's in full public view. All right, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
and truly perform the duties
and truly perform the duties
of city clerk
of city clerk
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, 11F6 is a request to approve amendments to the city council rules and procedures.
Thank you, Mayor. With this change in how we operate here at City Hall, we would like also to take the opportunity and amend the agenda for city councils going forward. We would like to remove Finance Department from one of the reporting functions and combine that with the city manager and city clerk, which is the section we're in right now, and just refer to it as administrative services.
All right, this requires a motion. All right, thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. 11F7 is a request to adopt Resolution 2511, supporting the City of Allegan's grant request to the Michigan Department of Transportation Local Bridge Program to fund the rehabilitation of the upper portion of the 2nd Street Bridge. And we have an updated report here. Are you-
Correct. So in your council packet, I put in what's called a placeholder report. And hopefully I was very clear on what a placeholder report is in the packet. If not, please see me afterwards and I'll try to explain myself more clear. In front of you this evening, though, at your spaces is the updated report because we got the final projected construction costs from Abbott Marsh over the weekend. 2nd Street Bridge was, the lower half of the 2nd Street Bridge, or the historic 2nd Street Bridge, was rehabbed a couple years ago. We have been trying to get local bridge funding to do the upper portion. We have not been successful. Real quick, before your minds go crazy, Trestle Trail Bridge does not qualify for local bridge funding, okay? That comment comes up often. But the 2nd Street Bridge does qualify for local bridge funding. We applied in 2024. The estimate at that time was 1.1 million. However, we did not receive funding. We score as one of the highest projects. However, the amount of our match is so low, it just doesn't qualify to get funding. They spread the money out elsewhere. This year, the construction estimate has creeped up to $1.2 million. The total increase is about $131,000 difference from last year. We're recommending that we set aside $225,000, which equates to a 17.5% match, to see if we can get funding. This would occur in 2028, so we're a couple years out in our budgeting process. However, for us to apply, the application requires a resolution from the city council or the local government legislative body stating that we have set aside this money in the future budgets to put to this project. Infrastructure maintenance is important, and I view the 2nd Street Bridge as an important cultural and community icon for Allegan. We need to keep it in the condition where it's usable and it isn't falling apart. I equate maintenance to owning a house and you have a roof, and your shingles start curling a little bit, and that's okay, because they're just curling. You don't have a leak yet. And then, you know, you got some other things you want to buy, maybe go on vacation. Next year, your shingles are blistering, and they're not curling. And maybe they're becoming dislodged and falling down. And that's okay, because you still don't have that leak yet. And then 3 years down the road, you've got the leak. And the leak now is falling onto your dining room table and your dining room floor. Now you've got a problem, where if you'd have just taken care of the maintenance, like scraping the bridge and painting the upper portions when you had the opportunity, you want to have this full-blown issue. It's important that we keep doing these minor improvements to the bridge to make sure we don't get into an issue where it's the 80s again and the whole thing needs to come off. Any questions on staff's report or my little analogy right there?
What, so by rehabilitation, can you be more specific? And was that requested by MDOT or is that a routine cycle we go through?
Every 3 years, our bridge is inspected. That's how we have that relationship with Scott Civil Engineering. They're really good bridge inspectors and bridge engineers. So they give the report to us on how, you know, on the improvements that we need to make. As community members, most of you should recall when we did the project last, what condition the boards were in, the grates, when you drive over it, the clankly clank clank that would pop up. And the underneath was a lot of rust was forming. To answer your question in regards to this, we will be removing portions of the pedestrian sidewalk that is on the south side of the bridge and replacing all of that with, you know, new wood. We will be repainting the entire upper portion. That's cleaning it and then coating it. It's 11,000 square feet at $60 a square foot. We have to remove the LED lights that this community so much loves and put those lights back on. That is a $70,000 estimated project. I've asked Parker to go ahead and get me an estimate what a new lighting system would cost, because if it's not much more, maybe we can do a community fundraiser and, you know, get new lights, because that system is finicky, is the word I'm going to use. And then, you know, that you include then, you know, the lump sum of $50,000 for traffic control infuriates me, but that is a MDOT standard that they can do on every project a contractor can put in, so we have to put that in there. And then your contingency of $174,000, their mobilization of $100,000, and then we added inflation to the whole project, because this is 2 years out, 3 years out, of $138,000. That's how we get to that number, Councilmember Walker.
Okay, so we are then saying.
So we're, yeah,
approving
yeah,
for the
yeah, so what
grant.
you're saying tonight is, your, the council, if you, when you adopt this resolution, or if you adopt this resolution, you're saying the city is willing to commit $225,000 to a $1.2 million construction project. That does not include the engineering. That's gonna come in around 15 to 20% if we are awarded these funds. The grant program does not pay for engineering. It only pays for construction, bricks and mortar.
And then, if this was approved, then we would do the normal process.
Going out for bid?
Right.
Yeah, yes, most definitely.
Gotcha, okay.
Yep. And if you don't do this, next year, it's going to be 1.4 million. That will go up another 100,000 some change. And then the following year, We made this mistake in 2019 when the bids came in for the lower portion at 120,000 over what we budgeted. And we said, let's just wait a year and we'll go back out because it'll maybe be a better bidding climate. And then it came in $433,000 over our estimate at that time.
All right, can I get a motion to adopt Resolution 2511?
I make a motion to adopt Resolution 2511.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any other comments, questions amongst council? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. All right, we're gonna move down to agenda item number 13, which is public comment. You put the clock back up, but we don't know if it works. If you have a public comment, please approach the podium and state your name and address.
Hi, y'all. Eddie Quinones Walker, 221 Trowbridge, right next door. I'm here. Y'all may remember I sent an email out, I want to say that was like a month ago, talking about sanctuary cities. And I'm here to talk about that again. So if you've been paying attention, at the end of last week, the current federal administration stated that they were going to be revoking the citizenship of over 500,000 people who are here legally under a program from the previous administration. They're canceling that, they're revoking their citizenship, and he's giving them 30 days to self-deport before they are treated like criminals. So each day that passes, more and more happens. And if you don't know the origins of Allegan Speak Up, which is an organization that I started with a few other people, it was started in May of 2020, and this was right after the murder of George Floyd. And the reason it was created was because within our community, you would have no idea that the rest of the country was burning down. Like, no idea. No signs in anyone's front yard, no protests. And so we got together and we said, well, if nobody else is going to do it, we need to do it. So that started Allegan Speak Up, and since then we have, organized a bunch of community events and continue to do more. Along with that, I'm currently working with several different organizations to bring in resources for migrants that live within our community and the outside, the surrounding areas in Allegan County. I know of some truly heartbreaking stories of families who are here legally, but because of the rhetoric that has come out of the current administration, are so terrified to do anything. They won't accept help when it comes to heating or getting running water. They won't even go to the library to get a library card because they do not want any record of their existence. And this is where the power of sanctuary cities come in. More and more cities are doing this, and they're reaching out to their community and they're saying, this city is a safe place for you to come. You can go to the grocery store and you can sign up for their rewards programs and you don't have to worry about being deported. All it is saying that our local police force is not going to coordinate with ICE when they come in to assist in deportations. It's a very legal thing. There's no responsibility within local police to have to turn over records or assist them in any sort of way. None of that is illegal, and it's perfectly doable. So I, as a community member and as a founder of Allegan Speak Up, do everything that I can to try and make this community better. But I can only do so much. Our organization can only do so much. You all, as City Council, have a very an important role, and you have a lot of power to make an impact. Silence is the worst thing that we can do. This council needs to react. We need to see that you all are paying attention to what's going on in the bigger picture and are willing to take a stand or at least just react, something. Declaring Allegan as a sanctuary city is probably the easiest thing y'all can do. It takes nothing. Sure, y'all may be a little concerned about federal funding being interrupted or withheld, but as I understand, the federal funding that Allegan City receives is little to none, so not really a big problem there. I encourage you all to think hard about my words. I'm not saying that I have a roadmap on what anyone should do, but I implore you all to do something. Don't be silent. Take a stand. you all have the power to not only build community here, but to make a significant impact on this community and communities surrounding us. Okay. Thank you.
All right, is there any other public comment? All
right. Tanya Schaefer, 210 Bridge Road. Also, partner for Tantric Properties, Tantric Brewing here in Allegan, operating since 2018. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you today. I want to address the events that transpired during the City Council meeting on Monday, March 10th, regarding the proposal by Tantric Properties to purchase the vacant contaminated lot on Lowe Street. So as the representative that made the proposal to this council, I'm the person with whom this matter should be discussed. Firstly, I was not aware that our proposal would be discussed during that meeting, so I wasn't present to defend our proposal. Had I known, I would have made it a priority to attend. I was surprised watching the meeting stream to find that our proposal was being discussed without prior notice. It was not on the agenda. I had no knowledge. Secondly, I witnessed Councilmember Morgan addressing my business partner directly during the meeting, despite him having previously recused himself from discussing this proposal due to an obvious conflict of interest. I found Councilmember Morgan's assumptions about our business needs to be both inappropriate and inaccurate. Furthermore, he made slanderous allegations on record, suggesting that insider knowledge was inappropriately provided. This was particularly concerning, as I had already clarified during the initial proposal how I came to know about the property's availability, and there was nothing inappropriate about the discussion I had with the city manager regarding this property. I do see that Councilmember Morgan was recused from the discussion today. That was going to be my next point on here, since he also mentioned another party being interested in purchasing the property. So in summary, the way the meeting was conducted raises several issues. The proposal was not on the agenda. I was not notified to be present. My business partner, who had recused himself, was inappropriately questioned. I respectfully request that these concerns be addressed and appropriate actions be taken to ensure fairness and transparency in future proceedings. Thank you.
All right, is there any other public comment for this evening? All right, seeing none, I will move down to agenda item number 14, communications from the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few things I want to touch on. First, tonight is the last council meeting that we will have with Michaela as our city clerk, helping out with the meetings and serving as the clerk. As mentioned in the email, she has accepted a position with the city of Northville as their city clerk on the east side of the state, working under their city manager, George Lahanis. And George is a well-seasoned, well-respected city manager in our arena, so she is moving on up in all the right directions with that career change, and I wish her the best of luck, and I thank her for her time serving the city. One side note, no disgrace to previous city clerks, but the election workers have told me she is by far their favorite one. So we will have some big shoes to fill with in regards to that. You received an email from me today. Mr. Ankoviak, Peter Ankoviak, submitted a request addressed to me, requesting that the city allow him to purchase property along Monroe Street. Can you hit the button to flip me over to my screen? You just push it. This should work, we hope. There we go, it worked. All right, so this is the letter that I received from Mr. Ankoviak. Typically, we tell people address the letter to city council, but this came to me. Mr. Ankoviak owns land on Monroe. He actually owns this parcel as well. The city owns this parcel here. He would like to acquire this parcel. In his letter, he says it's approximately 35 feet. I have no reason to deny or dispute what he believes that is. However, this is our master plan, future land use map for this area along Monroe. So this is J.C. Park Drive, this is the fire station, this is North Walnut Street. The parcel in question is where my cursor is. The city's vision for the group of properties here is that they eventually become part of the J.C. Park. The vision is the homes are removed and we have sweeping views into J.C. Park along Monroe. However, that vision could be 40 years down the road. This is the second time Mr. Unkoviak has inquired about purchasing this property. The city does mow it. In his email, he talks about it being overgrown with trees. There is a steep drop-off on the back, and we mow the first 15 feet before you get into the wooded part of the parcel. But the city does mow it. We have pictures of city DPW workers mowing it. I need some advice from council on how you want to proceed with this. Do you want me to just let Mr. Unkoviak or take it into consideration as you discuss how you want to sell property in the city? This was somewhat of a timely email I received, or a letter I received, last week. I see some opportunities here. He owns some other property in the city that he's not developing that I would like to see him develop. One is a structure that he has people living in that does not have water to it. And I will be going out tomorrow to placard that house and start the process of telling people they can't live in a house if you don't have running water, which is never a fun thing to do. But
I personally would like this to become more of the parkland. We've got a great sledding hill there, and I see more sledding hills in the future.
All right, and yeah.
I also agree. If there's a plan, I think that obviously it could be down the road, but I think that we go with the plan.
I totally agree, same, yep.
So I like that idea, but there may be an alternative. There's been discussion before with the Public Spaces Board about land by the Second Street Bridge that they were wanting, that I think Ankoviak might own.
That is the property that Joel is talking about with the home that doesn't have running water.
Yeah, so I wonder if there might be a,
So the vision for that is,
I think
housing.
they're two separate things.
okay,
On those two
Yeah, they're
parcels.
two separate discussions, I think.
okay.
Well, that's my feeling.
I was just wanted to point out that there had been discussion about that land too, and perhaps these things go together. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
I don't want to bargain. Anybody else?
To the city, and then we vote on it.
Anyone else? No?
What Mike said is fine, but this is part of a master plan for this whole area to be part of that park. I think we should stick with the master plan, but if we were to vote on the property, that would be part of that. We could always deny the vote or whatever. But I would like to see it stay the way that it is.
So what I can do is I can email Pete back, or he wrote me a letter, so I can communicate to Pete that the majority of council envisions this staying part of the park. However, if he wants to make an official request, like I said at the last meeting, the good thing about local government, home rule cities, is anybody can petition the local government. And if he wants to petition us, he can come and submit a letter. But I'll let him know that the majority, and again, since we record these, he can watch the conversation, the discussion, and then he can, weigh whether or not he wants to come and put in that effort.
Okay. All right. All righty.
All right, got some more things for you. The spring spruce up, cleanups at the DPW for city residents. Dumpsters will be available from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. on Saturday, April 12th, 7 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. on Monday, April 14th through Friday, April 18th, and 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Saturday, April 19th. I got that by just opening up the little PDF that was in my email attached to my water bill. So it's nice that you're all writing this down. I believe you're all city residents. I believe you all get water bills. You can also find that information that way. It's also on the city website under resident services. Parker updates that for us. So this is just another cool little way we communicate with our residents, and I'm kind of showboating a little bit.
Yeah, you don't know what I was writing down.
Correct. And then the final thing, an update for you, because life is about to get really hectic in downtown Allegan again. Starting March 31st, 2025, that's next Monday, the Hubbard Street parking lot will be closed and construction will start. Substantial completion will be done by June 28th or June 16th. Not sure why I added, 10 more days to it, but June 16th will be substantial completion. The Water Street parking lot will be done April 3rd and April 4th. And then it will be that crushed gravel for the remaining of the spring until they come in and repave everything at once, both Hubbard and Water, in the middle of June. Weather dependent, as always with all construction projects. Any questions about those two projects? All right, that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. All right, agenda item number 15 is roundtable discussion from council and mayor. Councilperson Zeter, would you like to go first?
Sure. Maybe city manager Dye could enlighten me why I have been censured without just cause.
I'm not sure what you're speaking about.
Well, you sent a letter to all of us that you had spoken with Mr. Liggett, and you asked him not to discuss with me.
Yeah, simple. What I did, if you recall the email correctly, is I asked Mr. Liggett not to speak with individual council members regarding city business. Individual council members, you do not have the authority to represent the city. Mr. Liggett reached out to me requiring a bunch of information from me for this meeting to be prepared for it so he can put together the documentation. That's what you have city staff for. So if you want city staff to have a conversation with an agency, a commercial business on city business, such as what would it take to install and design a bridge over the Kalamazoo River, reach out to us and we can have that conversation. Also at that time, I made council aware that two council members, Walker and Hooker, requested that this agenda item be put on tonight's agenda. I mean, this was just a conversation last week, and we did not want to get the cart in front of the horse on this discussion. I would not equate that to censuring anyone.
Well, it was,
Okay.
so am I able to discuss with him?
Again, what I just said is, and I believe we've talked about this in your MML training. I was not present for that MML training, but you act as one council, not individual council members when, representing the city, and you do not have the authority as an individual council member to represent the interests of the city.
And we would not be making decisions on the city, for the city. We would simply be discussing items.
Okay? Yeah, I said what I said.
I'm afraid I'm gonna need a little clarification for myself. If we wanna do some fact-finding, that's not in violation of anything, is it?
I don't believe fact-finding is in violation. I don't believe educating yourself on practices is in violation. I was requested to turn over engineering reports to both Councilmember Zeter and Councilmember, or not Councilmember, but, and, you know, Mr. Liggett. And I made the decision as the city manager that oversees the management of the city and programs and projects, including the Trestle Trail Bridge, that this was coming up on the next agenda item, next council meeting, less than a week away, and that would be getting the cart in front of the horse. And we didn't need to be having multiple conversations out there where not all the council members had the exact knowledge and information. That's why in that email I sent to the council, I included some of the information, and I informed council I was going to be sending additional information in the council report, which you received last week.
Anything else, Councilperson Zeter? No. All right. Councilperson Westover?
I have nothing. Thank you.
All right. Councilperson Walker?
Councilperson Hooker and I had another coffee with council, and fairly successful. It lasted quite a bit longer than we thought, but good discussion. Trestle Trail Bridge was a big.
Councilmember Walker, could you use your microphone, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, coffee with council was successful last week. We look for another one. Melanie, what would we decide?
I believe we're gonna not have one in April only because my schedule's super full. So we're looking at May, and we're looking at either an evening or a weekend. So we will make sure that we announce it at a meeting and get more flyers out there.
And we can offer one more spot, one more available spot, and we can rotate also if anyone wants to do that.
All right. Thank you. Councilperson Canales?
Nothing for today.
Okay. Councilperson Hooker?
I mean, that's what I was going to say, so thank you.
You stole your thunder. All right. Mayor Pro Tem Morgan?
I have nothing.
Okay. All I have is, so I got former Mayor Roger Bird's mail today, and in there was a announcement from the Arbor Day Foundation that Allegan earned the 2024 Trees City USA recognition from the Arbor Day Foundation. So just wanted to let all of council know, and I don't know, Council Member Canales, if this is something you would want to share with public spaces, since it's about our trees and that. And let's see here. My last thing I have is for Michaela. To thank you for everything you've done, council. Hopefully you can stare at this and think of us for a couple of days. But thank you for everything you've done. And for me, working with you on elections and getting to know you that way, you are, top notch as our go-to clerk for elections. And you're, you are just very, very cool under pressure, because sometimes people aren't the nicest during election time, and you always had the right answers and very calm, and I appreciated it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, that is all I had. I will adjourn council at 7:48.